fasten your seatbelts for the show tonight. There is so much to get to, and the first story, wow. But I got to back up a little bit before we get to the wow on this one. I'm talking about the Doomsday couple, Lori Vallow Daybell and her husband Chad. You know a lot of the story. Accused of murdering her 2 children, accused of murdering his wife, accused of murdering her husband, and then her brother died in the middle of all of it. A lot of dead bodies. But since the beginning, when we've been covering this story here on Court TV, there's been this theme, this undertone that it's somehow woven into religion, what this Doomsday couple was up to, and specifically woven into the LDS religion in some way. And there's this strange relationship that we have seemingly uncovered through our coverage of the story and peeling back the layers of this relationship between the Doomsday couple and the Church of Latter-day Saints. And the LDS Church has also started to play a role in what is happening inside the courtroom as well. So we have a lot to get to, but I want to begin here. Chad Daybell, the Doomsday prophet, the one who is making all these predictions, at one point was closely aligned, it seems, with the LDS Church. And Eric Smith is a friend of his who spoke with Court TV about Chad Daybell and his religious beliefs and what sort of happened. And I think it's important to hear this because we've got some blockbuster news coming up. So take a listen first.
Chad's message, I think, started innocently enough. His belief system started innocently. I think he meant to do good. Somewhere along the way, something's changed. I think I see some greed, some pride, even some lust, entering this man. I don't want to be his judge, but it's hard not to recognize those in him. It's unfortunate to watch somebody slowly slip like that, and especially to go this far. Chad has taught some things that they're new to the public and they're disturbing. He has a very dark twist on something that I believe to be more pure.
And it's that dark twist that really got us to where we are, right? And at least that's going to be the theory of prosecutors in the case against him. But now let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter, who has some exclusive breaking news for us tonight. And it's right on this issue, that relationship between Chad Daybell, the Doomsday prophet, and the LDS Church. What do you have for us tonight, Chanley?
Vinny, we can now confirm that Chad Daybell is no longer a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He has been excommunicated. This is something that has been speculated about for years. We have confirmation. In fact, here are the letters that were mailed to Chad Daybell after he was arrested in June 2020 when the remains of Tylee and JJ were discovered on his property. He was taken into custody. Well, here are the letters sent to him at the Fremont County Jail. The first one was dated July 14th, 2020. It says, "Dear Brother Daybell, this letter is to notify you that the stake presidency is holding a membership council in your behalf. The membership council will be held August 2nd, 2020, 10 a.m. This council will consider evidence of apostasy, including promulgating teachings and doctrines which are contrary to those of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints." It further says he was invited to provide a written statement to the council on his behalf, written statements from other persons, relevant information on his behalf to this membership council. This was a letter July 14th. The next letter to Mr. Daybell was dated August 9th, 2020. Now this letter says, "Dear Brother Daybell, this letter is to notify you of the decision of the membership council held for you on August 2nd, 2020. The council decision was to withdraw your membership in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for conduct contrary to the laws and order of the church, specifically for apostasy and for promulgating teachings and doctrines contrary to those of the church." So this decision means, according to this letter, that Chad Daybell no longer enjoys the privileges of church membership. He cannot enter the temple or wear temple garments. He may not exercise the priesthood or pay tithes and offerings. It says he would be invited to attend public church meetings, but he could not, only if conduct is orderly. So this is what this letter says. He had a right to an appeal within 30 days, and it's signed by the president, William Dalling, the Henry Fork Stake president there in Rexburg. Now, Vinny, the same source who provided me this correspondence advised that these letters were delivered to the Fremont County Jail, but Chad did not receive them until a month after the date of the second letter here. So way after September 2nd, 2020, too late to respond. The source close to Chad Daybell also says that any rumor of a previous excommunication or reinstatement for Chad Daybell, that would be false. And of course, we did reach out to the LDS Church and that stake president who signed the letters, and they said they could not comment on the letters, saying it was confidential matter, and they don't usually comment about membership status. So remember that Chad was arrested during this time, but it's important to keep in mind that this letter, Vinny, is only for his alleged, his teachings, but not any criminal activity. So that's clear by these letters.
And what's clear to me, I mean, you've been out there, right? To East Idaho, to Rexburg, Fremont County, that whole area. That is heavily dominated by the church, right?
It really is. There's a huge temple right there, downtown Rexburg, Idaho. Most of the residents in that Madison County, Fremont County, are members of the LDS Church. Most of the people that we spoke to there, there's a BYU campus there in Madison County. So it's very much ingrained in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so this is something that has been talked about. We finally have confirmation and know exactly what happened.
And it's not insignificant to the legal case because you're going to have to pick a jury at some point. And if the church is excommunicating him, now all of a sudden that becomes a huge issue. And it's even more of an issue because the other news that you broke this week involving a motion made by Lori Vallow, Daybell's attorney, also connected to the LDS Church.
That's right. And allegedly, Lori Vallow Daybell called the LDS headquarters, spoke with the legal counsel for the church, according to that motion that we covered earlier this week, and told this counsel all the details of her case, allegedly. So it sort of goes to show, well, does that indicate whether or not Lori is welcome in the church? We tried to ask the LDS spokesperson about her status in the church, and of course we were given that no comment, confidential matter response. But it does raise an interesting point about whether or not
they were both members of the church when they met and when they got married, right? And
right.
When their spouses died, they were Mormons.
Exactly. So yeah, they're members of the church. This didn't happen until after Chad Daybell was arrested. And if Lori is making phone calls allegedly to the LDS council,
who then calls the prosecutor,
right?
She calls the church, a lawyer with the church, talking presumably, at least allegedly, about her case, and then the attorney for the church turns around and calls the prosecutor in the case, who's also a member of the church.
Yes, a former bishop of the church, Vinny, Rob Wood, the special prosecutor there on this case. So, and a lot of the people in the court, the judge, those locals, part of this trial, members of the LDS faith, that is well known. I will point out it is possible in the LDS faith to be reinstated. If you've been excommunicated, you can return to the church if you repent and
yeah, that could happen, but this is significant for the case in many levels when the church is this much interwoven, and I gotta figure out what this means. So Chanley, thank you. Great job staying late tonight. We appreciate you breaking the news here on the program. I'm going to bring you the think tank and see if this is going to impact this trial. Joining us tonight in New York, former senior homicide prosecutor Bernarda Villalona. In Cleveland, Ohio, criminal defense attorney, law professor at Cleveland State, Ian Friedman. And in San Diego, California, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Brian Watkins. Yes, folks, contact him at brianwatkinslaw.com. All right, Bernarda, is this a problem now? Is the fact that Chad Daybell excommunicated now, does that become an issue if people associated with this case are associated with the church, whether it's jurors, whether it's a judge, whether it's a prosecutor? How does that all play here, or is it completely off limits, irrelevant? You tell me.
So with Chad Daybell being excommunicated from the church, it gives even more reason why a change of venue has to take place.
We got the change. We're out in Boise. We're in Eastern California, in Boise, Idaho. That's where we are. So we're out of there.
It gives even more further proof why it's the right decision in this case that there was a change of venue. So in regards to him being excommunicated, is no concern in terms of picking and selecting a jury. However, what I am concerned about are the witnesses in this case. How is it going to affect whether Chad Daybell is going to get a fair trial in this case? However, the judge has already taken the necessary precautions and sending this case way out yonder in Boise. So with that happening there, I don't think that there should be any concern about the excommunication of Chad Daybell. However, I am concerned, what's up with the attorney for the church talking to Lori Daybell, then communicating that information to the prosecutor? That looks kind of shady there.
Yeah, well, you think? That's a problem? Ian Friedman, let me ask you, excommunicated from the church, right? You've got people associated with the trial that are associated with the church. Is that a problem? Is it a problem if a juror is a member of the LDS? Is it a fair question to ask them if they're a member of the LDS? Is it a fair reason to bounce them from the jury? How is this going to work?
It's not only a fair question, it's a question that absolutely needs to be asked, because obviously this is a profile case. I'm sure this is talk within the church, and they need to know when determining a jury that's unbiased, whether A, they're aware of the case, B, if they have formed some sort of opinion on the case. What have you heard in the church? Has it helped you to form an opinion? So this is all not only just fair game, but it's absolute. But
you can't bounce a juror just because of their religion, right? We don't allow that.
No. Right. No. This is not because solely of their religion, but it is because in the practice of their religion, if they know that their church has excommunicated someone, or if their church has formulated an opinion, have they also adopted that? Will the opinion, the action of the church influence your judgment when you're sitting here being asked to render an opinion? That's where religion comes in. But it's really not religion, it's any organization that you're a part of. So that has to be asked, it has to be explored, and it cannot merely be just a simple topical question. This is going to require a deep dive in order to secure a fair trial.
All right, Brian Watkins, you're sitting down, right?
I am.
All right. Wait till you hear what I'm going to play for you right now. Newly uncovered recordings. Okay, this is from Chandler, Arizona, part of the investigation into the shooting death of Lori Daybell's husband, Charles Vallow, by who? Her brother, Alex Cox. This is a recording of Alex Cox's ex-wife. And what she's going to talk about is the really inappropriate, unusual relationship Lori Vallow Daybell had with her brother, Alex. Okay, things that were done in front of her, in front of the family. Take a listen.
There was a lot of inappropriate sexual touching and things going on in the family, particularly between him and his sister.
So between Alex and Lori?
And Lori.
Okay. You kind of got me at a loss on this one. What do you consider inappropriate sexual touching?
Like they were simulating sex acts, and which is not normal to me for a brother and a sister. For example, he would pick her up and she'd wrap her legs around his waist, and he would kind of bounce her up and down on himself.
Okay.
In front of me, and they would moan and simulate sex acts. And I have brothers, and I would never act like that with one of my brothers.
Okay.
And his mom and dad talked about their sex life in front of us constantly, and it just kind of seemed to be a game for them.
Oh, the mom and dad didn't really object to it then, huh?
No, not at all. All of this was going on in the family, in front of everybody. They had no shame.
I told you, Brian. Now, let me ask you how this impacts. Let's start with the case against Doomsday prophet Chad Daybell. I mean, this bizarre relationship, and we understand, like, the thought is that Alex Cox was like the hitman. He's dead now, right? So he's not going to testify, but he's the one who killed Charles Vallow. We know that for sure. He admitted that. But there's also, it seems the evidence kind of points in the direction that he may have been the one killing the children as well. So how relevant is the bizarre relationship between Lori Vallow Daybell and her brother Alex Cox for Chad Daybell when he's being accused of murder?
You know, it's relevant because a person who would have that type of relationship with their sister and a closeness, a real closeness apparently, could be coaxed to do something like kill someone on their behalf. My question, though, is the wife is bringing this up now, the ex-wife, the widow, the wife.
Well, this was 1 year after Charles Vallow. I think it was 1 year after Charles Vallow was shot. She came forward with it.
She should have an explanation for that behavior because I'm sure she asked him, hey, why do you and your sister act like that? What's up with that? And so there should be some sort of explanation. And she's kind of putting it out there as though she's seen these activities but never inquired. And so I'm curious as to why she wouldn't inquire and be like, hey, why do you and your sister act like that? And what was his explanation for that? So I think that you can't just look at that statement in a vacuum. You need to kind of dig a little deeper and say, okay, you saw this behavior, which you believe was inappropriate. Did you not ask him about it? Did you say, hey,
well, can we take a vote? I think
That's
we all
weird.
agree it's inappropriate. Can we all agree?
It is.
Okay. Ian, there we go.
I
All right.
agree. I agree too. But I don't see a normal person not asking him, hey, that's funny. You and your sister act like that. What's up with that? And so there needs to be, I would like to hear what he said to that question. What is his explanation for that behavior?
We're close. We're a close family. I think his comeback to her was, yeah, well, it's abnormal not to do that. It's a strange world we're entering. And by the way, folks, later on in the show, we're going to play the whole thing for you. So you'll hear more of these details. But I think it's going to be very, very relevant at the trial of Chad Daybell. All right, our think tank staying with us for the whole hour. We're just getting started.